feels like a very quiet, silent check-in for everyone. So I'll pretty much summarize. I hope it's because we all have been taking the time to reflect on our activities, not just our physical activities, but also our mental activities. I think almost throughout all the time, right? Because we think around 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. Even when we go to bed, when we are not restful enough, the thinking continues in our heads. So it's prime time for us to meditate as much as we can, or do something in regards to mindfulness, or maybe even doing something brainless. I think that will help a lot. I was just watching a reel on Instagram last night. It was very interesting. It said there are jobs in China that doesn't require your brain, and it was on the production line. So you know that kind of toy that we play, like a car toy, you just drag it and then you release and it moves forward. And there were people's job that were actually just doing that. Like when it goes down, on the belt to them on the production line. So that person just had to just make sure it works and let it go and take the other one and let it go. And just imagine doing that for hours without using the brain at all. I guess when we are stressed up with a lot of stuff, be it at home or at work, sometimes these kind of activities do help us and just something brainless just to stop the mind from thinking. Right? So that was very interesting. And there was some that they were just supposed to check the spoons, metal spoons, to make sure that, I don't know, like it's polished well. So that lady was just looking at it. Just imagine doing that for hours the entire day, for for years. But then it also got me thinking, if someone who has a weak mind, someone who is very prone to feel like they are being victimized or they're being attacked all the time, I think that person would try to find politics over there, or they will try to find problems with the work, because it's also not easy working in that production line just doing something brainless. If someone who has too much mental activity might just start trying to find problems, to cause problems. So when I look deeply at that, I was like, okay, maybe we human beings, sometimes we do like to find problems because we have nothing better to do, or when we don't know how to allocate our attention wisely. So we have heard a lot about mindfulness, that it is very important for our lives. There's also one more thing called wise attention or skillful attention. That's the way I translate it, skillful attention. Because the mind has to place its attention somewhere. In meditation, we know that it can be placed on various objects. It could be a mantra, it could be a fire, a flame, a light, it could be a breath, it could be basically anything. And sometimes in meditation, as the mind or the brain waves fluctuate, we pick up another meditation object or technique just to nudge our consciousness back into a relative stillness, right? So that's why sometimes we go into metta, which is loving kindness, generating goodwill, or sending blessings to our emotions, people, and situations, just to keep ourselves more rooted into our own awakening nature or our Buddha nature. This one, I believe that we all know that so many meditation techniques that we use, that we learn, is how we're going to utilize them as time flies by in our meditation practice, so that we can continue allowing the mind to be stable. And eventually it will reach its stillness and develops its wisdom, insights, and clarity. But how about when we are out of the meditation mat? How do we place our attention? That's why Yoniso Manasikara is very important. Yoniso means wise or skillful or right. And Manasikara, it means attention, because mana means the mind. So Yoniso Manasikara, it's very important for us to adopt that. Where are we going to place our attention in our wakeful moments? If you think about it, let's say you're on the way to work or you're on the way into this session, especially for those who traveled down, where was your mind? Right? Was it in the phone? Was it at work? Was it thinking about all sorts of other things? Was it thinking about how the meditation session would help you, or maybe it's going to be a torture for you to sit through? So was that a skillful attention or unskillful attention? It is very important, because wherever our mind goes to, where we place our attention on, that will help us to nourish or water that particular seed that is over there. And that is why there is a saying, if things can be solved, why worry? And if things can't be solved, why do you even have to worry about it? when we can look into our minds, I would say that tension, stress, sometimes worry, or even anxiety, and even the sense of urgency, they can afflict us. Be it a work project, a meeting that you need to plan for tomorrow, your child's education, relocations, what you want to cook for breakfast tomorrow. If you look at all these activities, or even getting into this meditation, I have a spiritual practice. How am I going to focus on my flame? How am I going to focus on my breath? Where am I going to get enlightenment? Right? So these are mental activities that happen very rapidly all the time in our heads. We can live in them pretty much. It's also very important to see the difference between a thought and a feeling which is an emotion. Right? So sometimes we can have these kind of thoughts, or even thoughts of urgency. But if you look deeply, is there a sense of worry? So we're going into the realm of feelings. Is there a sense of worry over there? Because when there's worry, there is tension, and it is subtly sapping our energies away, draining us bit by bit. We can't feel it, but it's there. Because there are things that you have not done, things that you have not fulfilled. It's coming to the end of the year. Maybe you have a wellness journal, but where's your life going? And all kinds of things and responsibilities towards our loved ones as well. We can look deeply and look at them. Am I having this tension over there? Because as I said, and I will reiterate all the time, is that no one is perfect in this world. We can never be perfect. Because if there's anyone that is perfect or any system that is perfect, then there is no more innovation in society, there's no more evolution, there's no more progress. So we have to accept and acknowledge our limited resources. I always stress on this. We do have limited resources, which also means there's growth, there's possibility of growth. But maybe the growth is not today, maybe it's tomorrow. And these are things that we can't control when the growth and transformation happens. But we only focus on what we can do today. And what does that mean? What you can do today. A lot of us think that, oh, what can I do today? It means that I need to do a lot of things today to prepare myself for the future. Okay, there is that sense of responsibility, which is great. And I believe that we have done whatever we can today for our loved ones, for work, for ourselves, at best we can. We also want to be aware of our limited resources, our limited knowledge, our limited energies, our limited wisdom. We want to acknowledge that as well, right? So which means that you are given your all for this moment, for whatever you can do to problem solve, to come up with solutions. And that's it, it's done. You've done the best of your ability. And you can park it aside. Because maybe it's not time to fulfill it, it's not time to solve it now. And we need to learn to really park it aside. And how do you know if you have truly parked it aside or let it go? Is to see that if it continues to loop in your head. If it continues to loop in your head, it means that you have not. Right? So we want to look deeply. Is there a sense of worry over there? Is there tension over there? Or maybe is there resistance over there? And that is the object of our meditation. That's the object of our loving kindness, our self-compassion, our metta, or whatever mantras we know that we can send to that particular feeling. Because these are feelings that can go unnoticed, especially when we live in the realm of our heads. And we just keep thinking and stressing over it. And as I said earlier, this incessant thinking and unnecessary worries, they are slowly sapping our energies away. They're draining us bit by bit. And the thing about this is that our energies is pretty much unified in our own body or our consciousness. Doesn't mean that this situation saps your energy away, or then you have another bandwidth of energy for another thing. It doesn't work that way. You only have like one jar of energy if you look at it that way. Something in life saps you away, and then when you go and do something you enjoy, you have not much energy to do anymore, right? So we need to be very mindful. We need to guard our minds against our own mind, against the feelings that are coming up, which is, I feel it's very, very important for us, especially when we're coming to the end of the year. A lot of us are trying to wrap things up and prepare for next year, be it for your business or for your loved one's future or even your own spiritual journeys. So you want to learn to look at that. But then there are also times when we have resistance to do things that we ought to be doing. Maybe we feel lazy, we feel demoralized, we feel unmotivated, we feel dejected. So how do we overcome that? Very simple. If you can let go of that thought, it means that you really deserve not to do it because you've done enough. You know that you've done enough, you can enjoy your full time, your me time without trying to do anything else. But if you know there's something that you have been resisting, facing, and then you choose not to go and look at it or to address it, but then it continues to come up in your mind throughout the day, then you know that it is resistance. There is a resistance to do it. But that's the funny thing, right? When you don't want to do things that you ought to be doing, be it a deadline or reconciling with someone, and it could also be as simple as getting on a meditation mat to meditate, or going for your yoga class, or going to exercise, or to take care of your health. And it just comes up, it just comes up, it just comes up, right? So the easiest way for that, I would say, is simply to recognize how often these thoughts come up. If they come up enough, then I would just say, just do it. Because we can spend so much time battling within our minds to resist it, to try to not feel guilty about it, but it kept coming up, and coming up. It's really, the mind is really working on it. So why don't we just bring our entire body there and just do it and get it over and done with? So actually it is that simple, right? The mind and body has to be unified, come together as one for us to progress, for us to become better and enjoy a greater sense of well-being,